Hello and welcome to another episode of Sports and Songs podcast. We're in season 4, episode number 20. Andy, this is the Songs edition.
Songs
Musically, we'll talk some concerts and tours and things like that, some fun stuff, but we're going to do an album review first.
First Songs edition of spring.
Yes, this is our 420 show, the season 4, episode 20.
Uh-oh.
First show of spring. We're going to do an album review this time. Going back in the archives to Soundgarden, Andy.
Ah, yes.
We're going to do their debut album. Here it is. I'm going to bring it up. It's Ultramega. Okay. Here we go. Now, we don't cover a lot of grunge here on the show, but this has a lot of interesting notes, not music notes, but just notes throughout that reverberate throughout the musical scene. I think you'll get a kick out of. So Ultramega is the first debut studio album by American rock band Soundgarden, released October 1988. Now, Soundgarden released 2 EPs, one in 1987 and one in early 1988, and those are 2 EPs. So this was an actual debut studio album, full-length album. So they signed with a record group called SST, just an independent group, but this album contains elements of heavy metal, psychedelic rock, and hardcore punk. After this album was released, they did tour for the first time overseas. Now, 1990, Andy, they earned a Grammy Award nomination for Best Metal Performance. This was the first time at the Grammys in the musical section that they did metal performance. It was the inaugural debut year. So the nominees were Queensryche, Dokken, Metallica, and Soundgarden. Now, Chris Cornell took exception to the fact that why is Dokken a nominee in the metal performance? So he took exception to that. Fair enough, back in the day. Metallica got in and, of course, won it. But he didn't like the fact that Dokken was in there. Any thoughts on that as a Dokken fan?
He's Chris Cornell and I never really exchanged Christmas cards to start with. So,
and Dokken we know is rock, hard rock.
I think it's that hard rock, heavy metal, hair band mixture. A lot of it's tomato. You knew they were gonna put one kind of 80s star in there that had an album recently, just for the interest, to get us old people interested in it.
Just to get it in. And so that was it. Queensryche was in there, and then they've done that every year since. They've had a Grammy Award nomination for Best Metal Performance ever since 1990. Now, remember, this is 1988. They released this. So what they did, they brought in producer Drew Canalette. And Chris Cornell, the frontman, said that the recording sessions with the band, it was rough because they were not on the same page with him. Cornell said, material-wise, we went through the process the way we always do, for the first 2 EPs. But the producer wasn't used to the sound that we wanted and didn't know what was happening in Seattle. So imagine he's like, I'm not really familiar with what's going on up there. And they keep saying, this is the sound that we want. We kind of want a grunge sound. And he's like, I'm not sure what that is. The awkward, little awkward.
Hello.
Now, they wanted to get Randy Burns from Megadeth, the producer for Megadeth. They said, let's get him on there to do this, with one exception. You need to relocate to Seattle to produce the album. He says, no, I'm good. I'm good. So they bring in this Canalette, and it just didn't really work. Later in an interview, they said, we made a huge mistake with the Ultramega OK because we left our home surroundings and people that we've been involved with and went to this producer, and they produced most of it in Oregon. They ended up going somewhere anyway to produce it, and it kind of ended up in a negative way. So anyway, they didn't feel they did really well on this album. They had some better things that they wanted, but they're kind of hoping to get it done and out the door. Looking back, there's some good songs on it, of course, but it didn't have, they weren't proud of it. Let's say that. So here's the track listing. First song is Flower. Flower is the only single released off the album. There's a music video out there for that. That's very good, actually. After that is song number 2, All Your Lies. Now they have fun on a couple songs here. Number one is the next one is a kind of a joke song called 665, and then there's a song called Beyond the Wheel, and then the song next to that after that is 667. So they wanted to sandwich the song in between there for 666, knowing you couldn't do that. You couldn't have that stuff. That was making big news back in the day. You
Yeah.
had anything kind of satanic or anything goofy like that. So they went around it. Now, the thinking behind that was if 666 is such a powerful, negative word, isn't 665 maybe just a little less powerful? 667 a little less powerful. So they had fun with that. They're only 1 minute little songs anyway.
Yeah.
I think it would have been better just to have these things off, pull them off altogether. I don't know. But these guys were just having fun. This was Seattle scene. They were just winging it all. So 665, 667. At the end, they do a song called 1 Minute of Silence. Now, if you remember from the 1960s, John Lennon and Yoko Ono had a song called 2 Minutes of Silence, where there was nothing, just a record, it's just a filler song.
Yeah.
The studio album wants 12 tracks, and they only have 11 done. They record one for 2 minutes that's just empty and give it a title. That's the track. So they said, instead of 2 minutes of silence, we're going to do 1 minute of silence. The quote was, they said, we cut out Yoko Ono's part. Ha ha.
Yeah.
It's stuff like that I'm not a fan of, Andy, but they did 1 minute of silence. They just recorded in the studio 1 minute of nothing and put
Which
it out.
blows me away is that's kind of cocky of a first album too to do something like that.
Yes, and they've been around for a couple EPs and they were becoming popular, but for a debut album with a new producer, with a new record label, stick to your 8 songs, get it out there, be done with it.
Yep.
So anyway, this has 13 songs. 3 of them are kind of jokes, parodies. So it really comes down to 10. Beyond the Wheel is a pretty good song. There's a song called Mood for Trouble. I like that. Circle of Power is another good one. He Didn't is song 8. Smokestack Lightning you might like. Now that's a cover from Howlin' Wolf. Smokestack Lightning is they're very well done. And then there's a song called Nazi Driver. Nazi Driver. And they said that the joke about that was they said that Nazi Driver, the song, is really about cutting up Nazis and making stew out of them. Probably not something that your pastor wants to hear, but it's called Nazi Driver there. Head Injuries, the next song. Incessant Mace is the final one. Now the album's cover art just features a black and white picture of the band, and it was kind of a joke, meaning that they're going to use a really good high word, meaning Ultramega, really cool, and then finish it off with okay, meaning absolutely, unbelievably not bad. Kind of, once again, a joke. I'm not really a fan of that kind of stuff, but like you said, it is what it is. Now the personnel. Chris Cornell lead vocals. Kim Thale, lead guitar, very good guy, still around today, very very popular. Matt Cameron on drums, went on to be Pearl Jam there. And bass, the bassist was Hiro Yamamoto. Now, do you know what Hiro Yamamoto's up to, Andy?
No.
He's in the Asian Hall of Fame, class of 2022.
There he is.
He's considered the founder of Soundgarden and credited as the first Asian American founding bassist of Grammy Award-winning rock band. Now, I had to look that up for this, for the research of this album. I did not know such a thing. But Yamamoto was very smart. In between recording, he got his degree, went back to school at Western Washington University and got a master's degree in physical chemistry. Yes, I said that right. He's a very smart guy. Currently, if you look him up, he's no longer in music, but if you look him up, he currently works in Burlington, Washington as the chief of organic chemistry for a company called Edge Analytical. Currently, he's age 61. Very bright guy, but he's the chief of organic chemistry, and he's in the Hall of Fame, Andy. Whoever would have even guessed?
Wow.
So that blew me away, but he was a very good bassist back before they got Ben Shepherd in the group. Now, the management of the group, Soundgarden, the management is Susan Silver. Chris Cornell later went on to marry Susan Silver. She was a big uh, album band manager, kind of like, Wendy Dio, Sharon Osbourne. But in
Yep.
the Seattle
Yep.
area, she was it. And they ultimately ended with a big, horrible, nasty divorce. And so I've got a couple. The song "Flower," the lead track is about a girl who becomes a woman and basically invests everything in vanity and then burns out quick. That's "Flower," and then it's "Incessant Mace." The song and lyrics are about they're very European Gothic song, in fact. So this band, it's a good album. It's got heavy metal, it's got hard rock, it's got psychedelic rock. One of the reviewers says it's a combination between kind of a Zeppelin meets Sabbath. Kind of has a dark, murky sound, and pays tribute to heavy metal. That's the part of it that I like. Was or those songs. The rest of
Yep.
them I could do without. And let's see. Yeah, that music video "Flower," Andy, was the only single release, and it did get a lot of airplay on MTV's 120 Minutes, and that helped
I remember that. Yep.
to the
That's
early
right.
Seattle grunge scene. The early scene in Seattle was they got a lot of airtime there.
I remember that show. Yeah, 120
Any
minutes. Yep.
any other thoughts on that album? Is that something that you would have even ever owned?
No,
Okay,
no. I would have listened to it if someone else had it, but I would not put my.
gotcha. Yeah, I got into that way late in my career, the early Soundgarden stuff. Pretty good stuff, but it takes a while to listen to and to let it sink in and understand it all. But I like it. It's some good stuff. But 1988, old school. Now, you've got some things for us here, Andy?
Yes, my soapbox is pertaining to this album. If you want to
Here we go.
bring it up there, and I'll explain why. I will
Here it is.
explain why. First of all, I have no problem with you re-releasing an album later on, but here, like we said earlier, 13 songs. There we go, just over 42 minutes. Happy for you. Then when you re-release it, 19 songs. On the 20th, if you had a cassette, just make another album and call it the early years of early version of all these songs on there. Any
Yeah,
band,
not
I mean,
needed.
this is what we talk about. But any band, when they re-release an album and then add 5 more songs on there or 6, crying out loud, man! I ain't got time for that.
No, that's way too many. And you've got those songs number 3 and 5 called
Yeah.
665 and 667, which aren't
Yep.
even really songs. Now they did remove that 13. 1 minute
Yeah,
of silence.
1 minute silence.
Note at the
On-
end,
on the cassette.
there's a 20th track called 13 minutes, and they called it a remix.
Yeah.
I don't have time for that kind of
Yeah.
shenanigans.
And that's on the cassette. Ooh, and I just, okay, yeah, you're funny, haha, whatever. But you know what? Just make a second album and call it, because all these songs it says here, early version. Just call it the early years, like Metallica did, Garage Days, whatever.
Yeah.
Say, hey, we're redoing some of our earlier stuff and sending it out. Wonderful.
Or maybe on a
Happy.
box set, but there's nothing really value added here on this expanded issue.
No, just stuff like that. And I'm not picking on Soundgarden. Any band, if you add a song and maybe 2 songs, I'm okay with it. A lot of times bands did that because they do a song for a movie soundtrack.
Yeah.
Well, instead of being in the soundtrack, well, we want on our own album, well, let's re-release one or do a greatest hits and add this one song. Okay, I'm okay with that. When you're adding almost another album's worth here, that's too much. Too much for me.
Yeah,
even when I was younger, it was too much.
You wouldn't have a need. It's one of those, re-releasing it just to make some more sales. It's not required.
All right, let's get into some local concerts around here. It's spring. Spring is in the air. We want to get out to the concert. Power Trip out in California, October 6, 7, 8. I'm going to suspect that this might be a pay-per-view thing. This could be a video you want to get later on. Friday night, you got GNR and Iron Maiden. Saturday, AC/DC and Ozzy Osbourne, who's, I guess, healthy to tour again now. And then Sunday, Metallica and Tool. So there you go. 80s bands on Friday, the Geezers on Saturday, and late 80s, early 90s metal on Sunday. So there you go. Quadrasonic, a night of tributes at the Green Room in Minneapolis. Tribute to the Pixies.
Wow.
A tribute band to Weezer called Pleaser.
Pleaser. Weezer tribute band. Very interesting.
Sir Psycho Sexy, Red Hot Chili Peppers. And then Heartless.
Yes.
Rounding off the show. $12 in advance for this show. That's not bad
for 4 bands on a Friday night.
Yeah. Even if you pay $15 at the door, that's not bad.
Yeah.
So now, I mean, we've done it before. I'd spend $15 just to see Heartless. So there. Mr. Zero presents the 3rd annual Minneapolis Tribute Fest, the 3rd of June. The Mod Garage, a 60s group. Kiss in Time, Kiss group representing the 70s. Hellion and Judas Priest, there's your 80s. And Sir Psycho, the Red Hot Chili Peppers, there's your 90s. 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s music. We went last year, very nice venue. I don't know, I wouldn't mind seeing that Priest tribute band again and Kiss in Time again. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, and so that's June 3rd.
June 3rd. We'll leave it there. We could use the views, Dan. Go back and watch it on YouTube later and write it down, okay?
Yes, that's awesome.
Dust and Bones, GNR tribute band, will be at Turtles in Shakopee on the 21st of April. And also sticking to the Shakopee area, 10,000 Days Tool tribute band will be there April 14th, along with Muzzle, a Smashing Pumpkins tribute band. So there you go. State Fair has announced some of their shows. Boys to Men on Sunday, August 27th. The one I'm looking at there is August 31st, Duran Duran. That'd be kind of cool to see Duran Duran. I don't know what a Young Gravy is. It's playing on the 30th. I'm kind of scared. I'm going to apologize if that means something wrong when I said it too. If we got to censor that out, I don't know what that means. And we have a late birthday to announce, Dan.
Okay.
From the other day. From our friends Non Grata, happy birthday, Talon.
Talon, yes.
Young man had a nice birthday. Boys threatened to say this. I'm going to say it now because it was his birthday. I could say it, and they're doing well. The Caitlin Clark lookalike. Just
the Iowa
I'm not saying I got Caitlin Clark with her shirt off like this. No.
Jersey number 22.
Yes, just next time you see Caitlin Clark as you're watching the NCAAs for the women this weekend, and he's got that stick straight hair, I think is what does it.
Yeah. And
then from wearing it in a ponytail so long, both of them they're got a 5 head, not a 4 head. So
nice, exactly. That's good. Well, happy birthday to him, sir.
Happy birthday, Talon. From what I heard, there was nothing too short. I don't know, not a good birthday, but life is good with the boys down there. Non-Grind, they've always got new stuff out. Check out their YouTube page. Show them some love. Check out their Facebook page. They tour mostly in the Iowa area, so those of you in southern Minnesota and Iowa fans, check them out. They do venture out of the Iowa once in a while, but
I wonder if they have some outdoor shows coming up in the summertime.
They do. They do some music festivals, so you keep their eye out for them. They go to Wisconsin for music festivals sometimes too. I know they played Rockfest last year, so keep an eye for them.
Awesome.
That, sir, is my bit for the music.
Awesome. That's good stuff. Like I said, we're here now in spring. It is March 30th today. We'll be wrapping up. The next show will be in April, of course, but that's all I've got here for today's music. Please put down there in the comments section if there's any requests or any questions you have on some of the reviews that we do. That is fine. We will respond to that, but that's all I've got here for this show. Anything else?
Check out the website. We usually just put concerts on there that we're going to. But for the summer, I think we're going to start putting on just a lot of the tribute acts, local acts. not Target Center and XL, not those two facilities, but
Yep.
some of the tribute shows, some of the music
Smaller
festivals, like
venues.
the Fest and stuff like that.
You know, St. Michael,
St. Michael,
Shakopee Bowl.
yeah, Medina. Some of the not all the
Medina
shows Medina, but shows that are in our wheelhouse, our fan base here, our 80s
genre.
rock music. So,
All right. Have a good week, everyone.
all right, see ya.